next performer. Like, this, like, opened. Where's it going to go next? Up here? Good. Okay, so, for you, we have an esteemed stand-up, someone who's an incredible, extremely well-known improviser. She's just returned from a really incredible run at the Adelaide Fringe Festival, and she's here tonight and performing in 3 other shows in the festival, so they're a busy little bee. Please welcome to the stage, Nikki Spunde!
I'm going to be reading you a sexy story tonight. My little book of sexy fantasies here. You all ready for something steamy? Are you ready for something sexy? Are you ready for something salacious? I've totally oversold this already, haven't I? It's giving myself a lot to live up to. Actually, I've got an admission about my book of sexy stories. I actually did this for Centrelink purposes. It's true. I'm looking for work, and I went in to get careers advice from Centrelink, and the guy was like, "Oh, have you tried writing erotic fiction?" That was his advice. It was actually the best guess he could get after looking at my CV. Something I could do. But like, there's a reason why my CV ended up like that, and it's because I'm going to tell that story. It's because when I was growing up, all I wanted to be was a novelist. That was the plan I had. I thought, I'll grow up and I'll write novels. And it's not just because I was a literature nerd, even though I was. It's not because I like making things up, even though I do. It was because at that age, growing up in Queensland in the late 80s, early 90s, as I was then a closet trans girl, it seemed like one of the few careers which I would actually be able to do. It's like at that time you didn't look out into the world and see trans people doing anything. You didn't really see people achieving anything. It was like the only time I'd see any other trans people would be on shows like Hard Copy, which was like this tabloid news program, which makes a current affair look like Shakespeare. And so sort of in between the UFO conspiracies and the prophecies of Nostradamus, then they might have a bit about trans people, and we're all like, drug addicted and getting murdered in King's Cross. So that wasn't not so bright a future. And then or it would be things like Jerry Springer. You'd watch that and they'd have a trans girl special on Jerry Springer. It'd be like, which of these sexy ladies is actually a man? And they'd be like, I think that one's the lady. And they'd be like, no, I'm a man, baby. It's like, it was terrible. I'd be watching this going like, oh no, my future doesn't look bright. And I was actually, at the time I was really good at school. Like, I was a mega brain. I was getting top of all the classes. Like, the school was giving me so many prizes, I got bored of them. And I used to complain about, like, how many prizes they were giving me, which, like, garnered me surprisingly little sympathy from anyone else. But everyone's like, when you're going to be so rich, you're going to be so successful, you've got a bright future ahead of you. And I was like, no. You don't understand. You're not watching enough Jerry Springer. You're not taking enough sick days to stay home and watch Jerry Springer just in case they've got trans girls on it, because at this point any representation is good. So, but writing was something I thought, that I can do, because that's just completely gender independent. That's a thing I could do. And it's also because, writers have a history of being a bit gender playful, don't they? Even Dan Brown started off writing chick lit as Danielle Brown. He did, that's true, look it up. So I thought, no, I'm going to be able to do this. So when I went to university, I just studied subjects which I thought would help me write good novels. So I studied classics so I could make allusions to myths, like minotaurs and medusas and stuff like that. My favourite was Medusa. Did you like her, like the snakes for hair? I loved her because she was obviously the brainiest one of all the Greek monsters. Because she would be, because she's got like a human brain, but then she's got all these snake heads which each have their own little brain. And they all feed into the... So she's like a one-woman internet. She'd be super smart. Of course, all the stories record of her is just like, she's so ugly, she turned boys to stone with her face. Like, you know, which is an indictment on how history has treated smart women. So I studied classics, and I studied psychology, so I know how people worked and how to do emotional dramas and stuff like that. And I studied anthropology, so I know about different cultures and different ways of living. I studied history in case I wanted to write a book set in the English Regency, for example. And I studied astrophysics in case I wanted to, like, go to space in this book. And I studied biology in case I wanted to have, like, aliens in space and I could design, like, a civilization of giant amoebas or something. And I studied philosophy in case I wanted the characters to meet God. I neglected to study writing. Slight oversight. I thought I'd have that down and I just needed the content. No, it doesn't work like that. After many years at university, I exited with no novel and a degree that was completely fucking useless. So that's how I ended up at Centrelink with a guy just going, I don't know what to do. Maybe erotic stories? But it wasn't a bad idea, I thought. No, it's not a bad idea, actually. I mean, like, erotic stories do sell. As a way of writing, that's something that does make money. Certainly more market for dirty stories than there are for, you know, a novel about culturally diverse Regency gentry travelling into space to discover that God's a giant amoeba. So I thought, okay, sexy stories it shall be. Of course, the problem with me writing erotic stories is the whole sex thing. So I don't really do sexy. Like, I never really enjoyed sex when I tried it. I didn't like it. I'm what's called asexual. Yeah, I'm like a one-woman tour of the LGBTIA acronym. I'm the T and A, which sounds like a sexy combination. It's not. That's what it means practically, is all this. Yeah, none of your business or anybody else's, ever. And so, like, I tried sex a few different ways, and whatever it was that people got out of it, I just never experienced. Like, sex was like one of those things like Adam Sandler films, or test match cricket. It's like, I can see that it's popular, I just don't know why. Like, if I could choose between having sex or a moderately nice brunch, I'm going to go the brunch. And it doesn't even need to be that good of a brunch, really. Just a bit of Vegemite on toast, or an up and go or something. That would do. It's like when I was having sex, I could never work out. I never even knew whether, like, to put the noises or where the good bits were meant to be. It's all just a mystery to me. So, like, trying to write sexual fantasies, I couldn't do it because I don't have anything to work with. I don't fantasize about sex. Like, when I'm having sex, or when I used to do that, I would fantasize about the other stuff that I could be doing rather than having sex. I need to distract myself with thinking about something else. Like, I'd be thinking about, I wonder what minotaurs actually eat. Because they've got the face of a cow. So they have cow taste buds, so they'd like the taste of grass. But they've got a human stomach, so they can't digest the grass. So their stomach needs human food, but they can't chew human food, they've got cow teeth. So what do they eat? And you can't tell. Look, if somebody's having sex with you, you can't tell them you're thinking about minotaurs. They're like, oh, hey, baby, what's on your mind? And you don't say minotaurs, then they think you're thinking about minotaurs in a sexy way. Then you've opened up a whole world of trouble. Or you come home and they'll be there in a cow mask. Hey, babe, you know what you like? Then I've got to play out the sexy minotaur scenario, and I really don't know how that goes. Oh no, I'm lost in a maze. I hope the minotaur doesn't find me. So I haven't been able to write any sexual fantasies. Look, my book, it's empty. It's just nothing. I've got nothing at all. But I'm going to try. I need to, otherwise DHS will be on my back. So I'm going to try to tell you my fantasy. So it's the early 1800s, we're in the English Regency. And on our spaceship, look out, Medusa is sitting having a cup of tea. And then who should walk in and disturb her? Fucking no one, because she's a Medusa and she's a badass queen and she doesn't need anybody. Oh look, the cup of tea can be steamy if you insist.